Eric Cartman's worst moments ever. How could we forget that one chubby fat kid from South Park who showed us time and time again how unhinged he could get when the stakes were high? Yup, this is a video about Eric Cartman, the kid who's never met a line he wasn't willing to cross. In this video, we'll explore all the times he proved he was the worst kid in the entire town, with his evil actions ranging from a simple murder to starting a crack baby basketball association because this is South Park and drugs have to be a part of every episode. Kicking off our list is the episode Scott Tenorman Must Die, where we get a front row seat to one of the pettiest yet most disturbing revenge plots in TV history. So, let's break it down. Why the heck did Cartman even buy Scott Tenorman's pubes in the first place? Yeah, that's right, he bought pubes. Honestly, the fact that he thought it was some sort of badge of honor is hilarious.
Yep, he let me have them for just $10. I got pubes for you guys, Dave. I got pubes for you guys. Cartman, you are so goddamn stupid, it's unbelievable.
Oh, but it gets better. Turns out, the evil mastermind behind this scam was none other than Scott Tenorman, who pulls a fast one on Cartman not once, but twice. And if you think Cartman's taking this lying down, you don't know Eric.
Give me the $6, and then I'll give you the 20.
Okay.
Now, give me the pubes, and I'll give you back $2.
Right.
Now, give me the 12 cents, and I'll give you the rest of your change back. And then give me the 20, and I'll give you the pubes.
Sweet.
Eric isn't giving up. In fact, he tries over and over again with all sorts of pube-related excuses to try and get his money back. But Scott has something even more humiliating in store for Eric.
I'm a little piggy, here's my snack. Oink, 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 oink.
Scott does not know he's playing with fire here. Eric may look like a fat, dumb kid, but there's a fire inside of him you do not want to stoke. Pretty soon, Eric has assembled the entire neighborhood in his basement, ready to plot his revenge against Scott. And his movie for inspiration was a Hannibal, so you know it's gonna be good. But instead, we get served with this.
Well, if we find a pony, we can train it to bite off Scott Tenorman's wiener. It will be painful and humiliating.
Well, at least you get points for creativity, Eric. Let's just say Cartman's aiming for a real Game of Thrones moment here. And yeah, the execution is about to be as messy as you'd expect.
Come on, good pony. That's it. Now bite it off. Bite off the wiener, good pony. Oh no, pony, you like that.
Realizing that he's gonna have to come up with a better plan, Eric goes on a scouting mission where he discovers Scott's favorite band. And so, he gets to work setting up a giant screen in the middle of the town, which probably cost him more than what he spent on the pubes. But when Eric wants revenge, money is not the issue. There's just one thing Eric didn't account for, and that was Scott's own plan.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for the amazing Pube Boy.
Now that's just overkill for poor Eric. But he's more determined than ever now, and his brilliant plan is, falling back to the pony one? Even Eric can't be that dumb. He even invites Radiohead, yeah, the Radiohead, to witness the carnage. But of course, there's a little hiccup. Scott's parents decide to play hero and head over to the pony's stable, completely unaware that the farmer has a strict trespassers get shot policy. Ah, the joys of rural America.
Mom, Dad, that was my good friend Eric at the door. He told me that there's a starving pony at Dankin's Ranch that's been abandoned.
And just when you think things can't get any weirder, we hit the infamous cook-off. Scott's chili comes with a special ingredient. Pubes from every kid in town. Because apparently, that's how you season food when you're in a petty war with Cartman. But what Scott doesn't realize is that Cartman's got a nuclear-level surprise cooked up in his own chili.
After a night with the hacksaw, I was all ready to put on my chili con carnival so that I could tell you personally about your parents' demise. And of course, feed you your chili. Do you like it? Do you like it, Scott? I call it Mr. and Mrs. Tenorman chili.
Yeah. Eric just fed Scott his own parents. And that's just the start of our list. This kid is insane. All this chaos over $16? Honestly, who knew chili could be such a deadly weapon? And in the most relatable moment of all time, Stan and Kyle wrap it up perfectly.
Dude, I think it might be best for us to never piss Cartman off again.
Wise words, Kyle. Wise words. Next up, we got the episode Tonsil Trouble, where a seemingly normal tonsillectomy turns out to be a nightmare for Cartman as he gets HIV and he's not gonna let himself be the only one carrying it. It all starts off with Cartman's tonsillectomy, where the doctors mistakenly transfuse blood to him that's actually contaminated with HIV. And to make up for it, they've got just the right thing for Cartman.
We're going to do everything in our power to make this up to you, Eric. For starters, I think I owe you some ice cream.
Ice cream? Really? This kid just got a life-altering virus, and your big move is a scoop of Rocky Road? Bravo, Doc. Bravo. Moving on, the school faculty decides to educate the children and parents about the stigma against HIV and how they shouldn't treat Eric any differently now that he has the virus. But Kyle seems like he's been waiting for this moment his entire life.
Poor old Kyle. He's really taking it hard. Is Kyle laughing out there? This isn't a time for funny jokes. I'm gonna die.
And when the town throws a benefit for Cartman, let's just say the guest list is more exclusive than a hipster's coffee shop. 3 people show up. Seriously, even Stan had better things to do. We all know how many fans Cartman has in the town, which is less than the fingers on my hand.
So this is it?
But Kyle's laughter really gets under Cartman's skin. Instead of, I don't know, talking to his friend about it like a rational human being, Cartman does what Cartman does best. He plots revenge. A very practical revenge, of course.
You think HIV is something to be laughed at, Kyle? Well, let's just see how funny it is now, asshole.
The next day at the doctor's, Kyle finds out that he too has HIV now, and the way the doctor goes about conducting his diagnosis does not sound right to me at all. But then again, he's the expert.
Little boy, are you sure you haven't taken it up the hoo-hoo just once or twice?
Kyle is understandably furious. And when he storms off to confront Cartman, our favorite manipulative mastermind is just sitting there playing the victim, like he's the one that deserves sympathy. A brawl on the playground later, and they're hauled off to the principal's office, where the principal's idea of justice is hilarious.
And now, Kyle, maybe you should also admit you were wrong for tattling.
What?
But the drama doesn't end there. Kyle takes matters into his own hands and smashes Cartman's stuff, threatening to break his Xbox 360, Cartman's most prized possession. Suddenly, Cartman's all about friendship and cooperation. Why? Because he's done research. And when Cartman does research, you know things are about to get weird.
Magic Johnson has some kind of resistance to the virus, Kyle. I've been researching it since I got infected. If we can track him down and isolate his genetic prototype, we have a chance of beating this thing, buddy. You and me, Kyle. We can overcome our illness, I swear it to you.
Turns out, Cartman's discovered that Magic Johnson has some kind of mysterious immunity to HIV. And when these two show up at Johnson's house, Kyle's sanity is barely hanging on by a thread. There's only so many dumb Cartman jokes a guy can take when his life's on the line.
This isn't funny, AIDS isn't funny, dying isn't funny, so shut the fuck up!
Upon investigation, Kyle and Cartman find that Johnson keeps his money in his bedroom since he does not trust banks. And since this is South Park, you can pretty much guess that the cure is gonna be like.
All right, now watch what happens when we introduce some cash. My God, the HIV particles are receding.
Okay, great. Just what we need. AIDS patients hogging all the cash alongside the rich elite of this world. Johnson allows some of his money to be used in research for a cure, and scientists experiment with a concentrated dose of $180,000, which successfully neutralizes HIV particles.
Hey, they just found the cure for AIDS. You just have to inject yourself with all your cash. Woohoo!
And so, the whole world celebrates the duo who almost killed each other just to prove a point, and Cartman gets off the hook for literal attempted murder. Next, in number 4, is the time when Cartman started a neo-Nazi movement and became the mini-fat version of Hitler just because of a Mel Gibson movie. Because of course, it had to be one from the most anti-Semitic person in Hollywood. The episode kicks off like any other day in South Park, with Cartman and Kyle getting into one of their classic arguments about Jews. But this time, Cartman's brilliant defense is that everything he's saying is backed up by a movie, so it has to be true, right? Ah, the classic, I saw it on TV, so it must be legit argument. Truly, Eric's got the intellect of, well, a third grader.
Oh yeah? I saw Mel Gibson's movie The Passion, and Mel Gibson says in the movie Jews are the devil.
Kyle isn't falling for it, and so he has to watch the movie for himself to believe it. The movie, by the looks of it, is just 2 straight hours of a man screaming with random whip sounds, because that's all we can hear. That's not cinema, that's a nightmare. I mean, imagine paying for that and not even getting a free therapy session afterwards. At the end of the movie, poor Kyle is so traumatized that we could just see it on his face. He eventually goes straight to Eric's house to concede. I thought Kyle was the smart one of the group, but apparently not.
You were right. You were right all along. I thought you were just an asshole when you ripped on Jews, but I didn't know it. I didn't know.
Meanwhile, Eric is taking things way too seriously, promising a poster of Mel Gibson in his room that he'll do his holy work. If fanboy was in the dictionary, there'd be a picture of Cartman wide-eyed and drooling in front of that poster. My guy Eric is out here giving celebrity worship a whole new meaning.
From this day forward, I will dedicate my life to making sure your film is seen by everyone. I will organize the masses so that we may do thy bidding. Hail, Mel Gibson. Amen.
Now, armed with his new holy mission, Cartman organizes a fan club for the movie, complete with a costume that definitely isn't inspired by a certain evil dictator who shall not be named. And that's not the only thing he was inspired for. Eric has some ideas that are definitely not related to the movie at all.
But I think it's best we don't talk out loud about it until we have most of them on the trains heading to the camps.
Since when did this turn from a fan club to a Nazi party meeting? Anyways, while Eric is planning out the spots for his concentration camps, Kyle is still troubled by the concept of the Passion and wants to figure out the meaning behind it. And for that reason, he talks to the local priest who gives him an idea.
Wait, that's it. Atonement. Of course. I know what I have to do now. Thank you, Father.
Back at the movie theater, Eric has another fan club meeting ready. And this time, he wants to parade all around the town, teaching people about the Passion. Or if we're being real here, getting ready to exile all the Jews in the town because that's what he's been planning to do the whole time. Meanwhile, Kyle wants the Jews to atone for their sins of killing Jesus, which does not sit well with them.
And now I believe in 2004, the Jewish community needs to apologize for the death of Jesus.
What? I didn't know that.
What?
As the two communities converge on the theater, ready to cause a riot, Mel Gibson drives in with his giant truck and rams it straight into the theater, which surprisingly doesn't even scratch him. As he emerges wearing nothing but his underwear, the fan club realizes that maybe he's not the all-knowing director they thought he was.
That's Mel Gibson?
Even Cartman gets to taste the celeb treatment from Gibson as he gets completely ignored by him. Talk about meeting your idols and immediately wishing you hadn't. Anyways, Mel Gibson starts chimping out about money that Stan stole from him after he wanted a refund for watching The Passion because it wasn't even good, which is reasonable considering it was just screams and torture most of the time. Watching all of this unfold makes Cartman's fan club disperse, and he's left with one final surprise from Mel Gibson, which is well deserved for what he's about to do. For number 3, we have the episode Crack Baby Athletic Association. And the name just tells you about everything you need to know about what Cartman is about to do with a bunch of poor crack babies who definitely did not sign up for this. It starts off with Stan and Kyle watching TV, and then getting interrupted by those infamous Sarah McLachlan commercials that take the mood down like an SNL Gilly sketch. This time, instead of the animals, she's jumped on the train of crack babies and the atrocities they encounter in life. But most importantly, just look at them.
Look at these pictures. They need you.
Aw, dude. God.
Kyle stops by the crack baby ward to do what he can do to help the children. He then runs into Cartman in a nice shirt and tie and a video camera, which is enough to make anyone feel suspicious. He follows Cartman to his new office, where he's pitched Cartman's most brilliant money-making idea to date, Crack Baby Basketball League. Those 4 words are enough to make Kyle walk away.
All right, what is it? Crack baby basketball. Whoa, Kyle, come on!
Regardless, Kyle's needed for the idea because they need a bookkeeper. And of course, the Jews know their accounting. All it takes is a trip to Denny's and the glory of Baconalia to get Kyle to sign up. Kyle is assured that this is what the babies want, and in the long run, this will benefit them. After all, it's about the kids, right?
And it actually helps the crack babies. It's like volunteering, but we just make a little on the side. Somebody's gotta eat all that bacon, Kyle.
Kyle pops in later after Stan rebuffs him by telling him he sounds like Cartman, concerning the stupid ideas and justification with concerns about the crack baby's financial welfare, which does make sense after he showed Stan the Crack Baby basketball video, which is just 2 kids fighting over a ball of crack. Jeez, South Park does not hold back at all.
It's really getting popular. I mean, it's cool because, like the commercial said, the crack babies had nothing before.
Kyle eventually confronts Cartman over his stupid rules which do not help the crack babies at all. It's not just a minor problem like he says though, he's literally not paying them anything. At all. Kyle needs a reason to stay. Cartman offers that in a hot tub of KFC gravy and McDonald's French fries. Who wouldn't stay for that?
McDonald's French fries and KFC gravy. The French call this poutine.
However, now with a member of his own team questioning the money distribution, Cartman must seek the answers to find a loophole which gets him to the University of Colorado Boulder to find out how they are able to make money off their slaves. Excuse me, student athletes.
Right. Of course you don't have desire to own slaves, son. Neither do I. And if there was any government agency listening in on this here conversation, they should know that we're not talking about slave ownership at all.
Kyle can't shake that the babies still have nothing, so he devises a plan with the EA Sports money that they are gonna get, and he builds a crack baby orphanage. Cartman sees his loophole and declares his love of Kyle's Jewish ingenuity, and it's his university for his money-making plan.
Oh my god. It's genius, Cap! What? This is the answer to our problems!
Cartman and gang arrives to EA Sports, only to find out that they have signed over all the rights to the Crack Baby Athletic Association. They are told, thanks, and you're welcome for the lessons learned, now get the hell out. Nothing like the exploitation of the helpless for capital gain, huh?
Well, boys, this has been real educational and all, but now let's part with that old EA Sports saying, get the fuck out of my building.
And so, it's all over for Cartman's crack-filled adventure as they get hijacked by EA just like any other sports game IP that seems to do remotely good in this world. Rolling in at number 2, we have the episode where Cartman shows us that a PSP is worth more to him than Kenny's life, as he shamelessly goes to every possible length to get his hands on it. Because if there's one thing we know about Cartman, is that he'll sell his own soul, or someone else's, if it means getting what he wants. It all begins with Cartman missing out on buying a PSP when the only store in town only gets stocked with one. And guess who does? Kenny, Eric's sidekick friend that he treats worse than Kyle. And Cartman already looks like he'll have an aneurysm from all the jealousy.
Dude, you see what Kenny got? Yes, I know. Up yours, Kyle. What'd I do? Just shut your do mouth.
Turns out, the PSP is more addicting than crack, as Kenny just can't stop playing it wherever he goes. Even his deadbeat mom can see how it's ruining his life, and she's the one who spends her whole day drinking beer and slouching off. But pretty soon, Kenny finds out why his favorite game is Heaven vs. Hell.
You have reached level 60.
I didn't even know ice cream trucks could go that fast. Well, anyways, it turns out God has built up an army against the armies of Satan, and the game was just a way to find the right person to command his armies. Weird way to find your commander, but God has his ways, I guess.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
My lord, we must attack now.
What's the point? They have a Keanu Reeves now.
Apparently, even Satan fears Keanu Reeves. I'm not surprised to hear that at all. That guy's hardcore. Before Kenny's able to mount a defense against the armies of hell, though, a doctor miraculously revives him and gets his soul back into his body. Just not the way that Kenny would have wanted. They don't really revive him, they turn him into a vegetable. Or, in their medical opinion, a tomato.
Kenny is the same as he ever was. It's just that now he's more like a tomato.
Kenny the tomato is now stuck inside his body, and apparently even the all-powerful God can't bring him back to heaven because human technology just isn't that powerful. They keep Kenny alive with a feeding tube, although I'm pretty sure he's in there screaming with his signature muffled voice, asking to be killed.
It is only because I feel so sorry for you that I leave you my Sony PSP.
Oh yeah, baby!
Now that Kenny is dead, well, almost dead, his lawyer reads the boys his will, because for some reason, the 4th grader already has his will written. Maybe I should write mine as well. Anyway, Eric can't keep still with the excitement as he knows what's coming his way.
When do I take possession of my PSP, sir?
It's right here, along with Kenny's other belongings. They're all yours.
But right then, the boys find out that Kenny is now in a vegetative state, or in the doctor's expert opinion, a tomato. Cartman, however, tries his best to make everyone think otherwise.
That's not Kenny. Kenny sniffs paint and sets things on fire. Here, look. Kenny, look. You want $1?
Now that's what you call best friend material right there. And he doesn't stop there. I don't know who let this kid in there, but Eric is now standing in front of a bunch of Supreme Court judges asking to have Kenny taken off his life support. And when asked for a reason, his justification is that he's his best friend, and he even has the receipts to prove it.
That's right. Kenny and I have been BFFs since 1st grade. Here, look. Kenny has the other half of this BFF necklace.
After a long, intensive media campaign, the two sides are arguing in Kenny's hospital suite when Kenny's lawyer announces that the last page of the will has been found, and that Kenny's wishes were that if he were ever in a vegetative state,
If I should ever be in a vegetative state and kept alive on life support, please, for the love of God, don't ever show me in that condition on national television. Whoops.
Oh, jeez.
yeah, they've been doing much more than that, Kenny. The two sides realize that they have both been disrespectful of Kenny's wishes. Kyle then realizes they should not have made this issue into such a media circus and concludes that Kenny should be taken off his feeding tube, commenting that Cartman was right for the wrong reasons while he and Stan were wrong for the right reasons. I'm not even going to waste my time trying to figure out what that means because the battle for heaven is still left, and Kenny comes out as the victor now that he's dead and in charge of the armies.
And to thank you for what you've done, we are going to give you a very special gift. For saving the entire universe from the forces of evil, we give you this Keanu Reeves statue. Congratulations.
Seriously? That's all he gets for dying twice and saving the universe? Time to change sides, Kenny. Hell's way cooler. And finally, at number 1 is the episode with the most incomprehensible name ever. TSST? Tist? Tss. However you pronounce that, Eric proves just how much he hates authority by making his nanny go through the things he could never have imagined. The episode starts off with Eric doing the most unhinged thing ever to a schoolmate that gets him into trouble, but something tells me a visit to the principal should have been a visit to the federal state prison.
Okay, I'm sorry I handcuffed Billy Turner's ankle to a flagpole and then gave him a hacksaw. And then told him I'd poisoned his lunch milk and that the only way he could get to the antidote in time would be to saw through his leg.
Take notes, director of Saw. This kid has some great ideas. Leanne admits that she cannot control Cartman anymore, and taking Mackie's suggestion, she turns to Nanny 911 and Super Nanny. However, their attempts to change Cartman's behavior are unsuccessful, especially after Stella the nanny gets to find out just why Cartman is the most evil kid out of the bunch.
No, that's too convenient of an excuse. The truth is, nobody ever wanted to have babies with you. Isn't that it? Always the mom's maid, never the mom? It must be hard on you.
When Nanny 911 fails, Super Nanny, the British counterpart, is here to save the day, determined to fix Cartman with the power of tea and that weird British accent. However, all it takes is 3 days for Cartman to do this to Super Nanny.
I mean, she spends most of her time sobbing and eating her own excrement.
Realizing that Cartman is not human, they know just who to get, and it's our favorite Mexican dog whisperer, Cesar Millan. the guy we all love watching get constantly bitten by unruly dogs on TV, and Cartman is his next mission. Right off the bat, Caesar has Cartman pissed off with just a simple nip on the neck.
Don't look at the child, just keep looking at me. Let him know we are having a conversation.
Man, this guy doesn't. Quit it!
Fast forward, and Caesar has Cartman actually behaving for once. But that doesn't stop him from throwing an absolute tantrum when they go on a walk outside. Cartman eventually gives up though, when even his own mommy manipulation skills don't save him.
Mom, don't you love me? Can't you see I'm unhappy right now? Man!
Sick of being treated like a dog, which is ironic because that's how he treats everybody else, Cartman decides to run away from home. But that fails when he realizes none of his friends actually like him, especially after all the horrible things he's done to them. He's even forced to make some emergency best friends.
You're the first person I came to. I knew you'd take me in off the streets. But I hate you.
Cartman can feel himself slipping as Caesar's tactics are working on him, and he's actually being submissive for once. He knows he has to break free from the curse, and he comes up with a plan he probably should think over again.
Dude, don't kill your mom. That's not cool. She's Hitler. Would you have killed Hitler if you had the chance?
He's seriously gonna kill the only person that loves him? That's low, even for Eric. He goes to kill her in her sleep, but his inner conscience convinces him that he does not have the right to kill her, and passes out due to emotional exhaustion. But after Mrs. Cartman gets stood up by Caesar over their plans, she returns back to her old self and starts spoiling Cartman, saying he can have anything he wishes. This makes Cartman return to his spoiled behavior, and the episode ends with a rather ominous message.
Yes, darling. You can have whatever you want.